So, here's our second Patreon request that's been kind of long overdue, and this comes from, real quick, yeah, I know, so professional on this show, I know. Real quick, this comes from Jonathan Bermudez, who asked me to review a episode of Star Trek DS9 Far From Beyond the Stars. As always, if you want to get a Patreon request video done, just hit the link below to my Patreon and join the 4th tier, and you guys can get some exclusive content, and check out some videos. Anyway, so let's get started with this review. Interestingly picked this episode, Far From Beyond the Stars, it's kind of a filler episode when you come down to it, because this is like the penultimate season. We're in the lull with the war with the Dominion. Although I do profess DS9 is probably my favorite of the Star Trek shows. DS9 and TNG. This is a Cisco episode, which Cisco's my favorite captain. For those who don't know, yeah. If you were to ask me who my favorite Star Trek captain is, it's Cisco. Like, yeah, there's no real bones about it. Like, it's Cisco. I know, you're either a Kirk or Picard person. In a world of Kirk and Picards, be a Cisco. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, so this episode is, like I said, kind of filler, but it does have a really good message that really does resonate today. So Cisco's kind of phasing in and out of like a reality where he's a writer named Benny who wants to write a story of the story of DS9 in a 1950s sci-fi era. It's really cool because we get to see all the actors without the makeup, and I'm pretty sure they appreciate this episode greatly. But it's a lot of fun because honestly, I would not be opposed to this cast doing a show like this. I know sadly some of the actors are no longer with us, but it's actually kind of fun. It was actually like, I would not be opposed to an entire series of this. I would not be opposed to an entire show with these actors playing those characters. Like, I heard like somewhere there was a book. Like, there's a few books that are centered around the character of Benny and his group in this timeline. I thought that was pretty cool. The story is basically like starts out with Cisco dealing with a lot of trauma that, the war with the Dominion's going on, and he's kind of feeling like he wants to throw in the towel, but at the same time he's like, I don't want to quit, and it's kind of what he gets out of this episode. There is a lot of talk, because this is 1950s, and being a, African American in the 1950s is not fun. The story is that it still kind of resonates today, doesn't it? Like, it's still, 1995, and it resonates even today. Yeah. But that's the point of Star Trek. If you think Star Trek, goes woke, then you've clearly missed the point of Star Trek. Like, I point to episodes like this and go, yeah, it's been like this, jackass. It's always been like this. Just look at Far From Beyond the Stars, or I've got about a couple more episodes of Star Trek, a couple hundred more episodes of Star Trek where I can point and go, yeah, it's always been this. This is what Gene Roddenberry intended, people. Having said that, though, the writing is pretty fun, and I like the snappy dialogue, and it is fun to see all the actors out of makeup and play around a lot. It is really filler episode because you already know this isn't real. There's no payoff of Cisco's trapped in another reality or a different timeline, or he's living another person's time. No, he's just he's just dealing with some residual effect from the prophets, and he's now it's a weird it's just him going, oh well, now I want to keep fighting because I didn't want to fight before. It's really what it boils down to. So while there is a strong message in the episode, it really does kind of peter out at the end. I really do feel because it's been a while since I'd seen Far From Beyond the Stars, I was kind of going, it's a good it's a strong episode writing wise and the message, but at the same time I was I feel like the ending they just didn't know what to do with, because at the end he's are we really an illusion of this writer? And I'm like, don't do that. We already did that with the holodeck episode with Moriarty. We don't need to do that here. We don't. I wouldn't call this one of my favorite DS9 episodes, but I will say it's a good episode. It is still filler at the end of the day. I think my personal, like, if you were to ask me what my favorite filler episode of DS9 is I forget the name, but Tony Todd who plays Worf's brother. He plays a different character. He actually plays an adult version of Sisko's son. It's a really good episode where Sisko's like phasing in between time. It's a really cool episode. Although at the end of the day, it does kind of feel moot because the effects of that episode are changed in the events of DS9. So yeah. Anyway, so it's kind of fun. I never got to... This is actually... I want to thank and apologize to Jonathan if you're watching this. I know you are. This is your video. I want to apologize for the long wait. I've been very busy and wanting to get to Patreon requests. There is one more other Patreon request, and I think I'll be all caught up for the first half. It's one more, and I need to finish the series. I need to have time to watch the series that it's based off of before giving my review. And again, I want to apologize to Jonathan for making him wait so long for this review. But yeah, so yeah. And it also gave me an excuse to talk about Star Trek DS9, so so thanks for that, Jonathan. Thank you for that. I get to talk about DS9 and my favorite Star Trek captain. Yeah. Anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below if you guys saw Star Trek DS9, the episode Far From Beyond the Stars. Tell me in the comments below what you guys thought of it, and as always, if you are curious of having your own Patreon requests done, hit the link below, join the Patreon there, hit the Patreon, the 4th tier, and you guys can request videos for me to do here on YouTube. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.